All right, welcome in. I'm the Kodiak, and today I'm here to talk about how Javon Baker, the UCF wide receiver who just got drafted by the New England Patriots, is going to make wheelchairs stand up. But before we get into it, leave a like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're not already. Let's dive right into it. So, if you had been keeping up with scouting and more specifically the Senior Bowl, you'll know that there had been a lot of Javon Baker propaganda on that website. I was never in on the idea of the Senior Bowl being relevant to draft scouting in general because if you look at the Senior Bowl like top risers from 2019 to 2022, it has not been really relatively predictive of success at the wide receiver position, mainly because all the good ones who are actually good are nowhere close to needing to be at the Senior Bowl. Like Romo Dunze, uh, who else? Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors. Like, yeah, I know those guys. I know MHJ and Neighbors were juniors, but at the same time, they were never going to be at the Senior Bowl anyway. But guys like Puka Nakua and Tank Dell, while yes, still, statistical analytical outliers for hitting being drafted so late, it's made me rethink on what we do with our process. And Javon Baker definitely has an interesting career arc because as far as guys entering the NFL, it seems like you could almost make an all-time college football team of guys who were uber talented yet could not get on the field at Alabama due to one reason or another. And in Baker's case, it just seemed to be that their wide receiver group was absolutely loaded. But Baker coming out of McEachern in Powder Springs, Georgia, four-star recruit, 57th best wide receiver in the country. Now, this is a guy who just got buried by Devontae Smith, Waddle, Jamo, and Mechie. And I actually watched an interview with Baker, and he said that Alabama is always injecting boatloads of talent into their team each year and consistently under Saban having a top 10 recruiting class. And it's tough for anyone, unless you're just that good of a recruit, to see consistent playing time. And obviously, we've had guys like Judy, Ruggs, Smith, and Waddle, but ever since then, it's kind of been random as far as who the true top guys were there. And this is a big reason why Javon Baker ended up transferring, and he ended his career at Alabama with 9 catches for 116 yards and a touchdown. That's pretty underwhelming production, and he was hampered by injuries, mostly depth chart. He was expected to get time in 2021, but I think the NFL completely misevaluated him. I would have loved to have seen Javon Baker go late second, early third round, because that's the kind of talent that I think that he is. Now, anyways, he was also supposed to go to Kentucky and play with Levis, but we've never really seemed to get an answer as to what really happened to that. But he seemed to imply that the coaching staff just kind of outright dropped him, which, I mean, I don't know if I don't follow Kentucky, but I can guarantee you did not get anyone close to Javon Baker as your replacement. But anyway, he broke out at UCF in his first season with the program. He had an incredible first season, especially considering he played with a mobile quarterback and the fact that John Rice Plumlee, who is now a quarterback, transferred or turned into a wide receiver by the Steelers, was almost an absolute dead zero outside of 2 to 3 games. But despite UCF's murky quarterback situation, um, this was UCF's best chance. Javon Baker was always UCF's best chance to win the game. He had the highest yards per route run in the conference versus man and the third highest yards per route run in the conference versus zone. And if you are going to love Javon Baker, if you love contested catch savants who have a little bit of a twitch to them, you're going to love this player. Now, here's why the Patriots are a good fit for Javon Baker. Ultimately, what did they do this draft? They decided to build around Drake May, and they decided that Drake May was their future. So what did they do? They double dipped on wide receiver because they have not had a lot of talent at the wide receiver position over the past few years. I know that they've had a few guys here and there, and I know that they did have I was about to say Jacoby Myers emerged last year, but Demario Douglas emerged last year. Crazy high upside receiver. I'm really excited to see what he can do in this league. But at the same time, they had literally no talent on the offensive side of the ball. So what did they do? They needed to retool to build around their new franchise quarterback in Drake May. And I thought they couldn't afford to pass on him, so good on the Patriots for making that decision. But do we have real clarity on who's making the draft picks for the Patriots? But regardless, Javon Baker is going to make people in wheelchairs stand up. He's an absolute stud. He's absolutely incredible. I cannot believe that he went as late in the draft as he did. He's definitely a good man beater, a great route runner as well. He never, ever, ever fails to get open. Very good tracking the deep ball too. And he's got a little De'Ami Brown to his game, but the difference is that Javon Baker can actually win in short yardage situations. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Javon Baker. There's probably 5 or so Patriots weapons that I'm kind of interested in, because obviously we have KJ Osborne, and then they signed another person who I'm absolutely blanking on at this time. But then you have Demario Douglas, Jalen Polk, and Javon Baker. So be really interesting to see what happens there. And it's just going to be the best player's going to play. It's plain and simple. That's how it is in the NFL. So hopefully Javon Baker does not get buried on the depth chart. Hopefully he gets to show what he can actually do, because I'm really excited about what he can do for the New England Patriots. And yeah, so that does it for me, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.